Hey class, today we're going to talk about topic 0.2 and we're going to focus on the ancient Middle East. Now the vocabulary for the day is going to be the Fertile Crescent, Mesopotamia, Hammurabi, polytheistic, monotheistic, the Torah, and the Ten Commandments. Now a civilization emerges in Sumer. Around 3300 BCE, Sumer, the world's first civilization, arose in southwestern Mesopotamia. Now, Mesopotamia lays within the Fertile Crescent, an area between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. Sumerian society had a hierarchy with an upper class, middle class, and lower class. And more importantly, they had a polytheistic religion, right? Which we talked about before, which is the idea of many gods. So let's break this down a little bit further. Now, Sumer is in an area called Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is in the middle of two massive rivers. Now, Mesopotamia is going to be lucky because with all of this water, they're going to be able to have an abundance of food. That's why it's called the Fertile Crescent, because it looks like a little crescent, like a little moon, right? So it's very important because it's the first civilization that we know of, right? Things change all the time, that we know of 3,300 years ago, right? BCE. Actually, that's 5,000 years ago, right? Because you add the time, the 2,000 years. Okay. Now, this is what it looks like, right? In the green is the fertile area, right? It's shaped like a C. If you look at it sideways, that's a crescent, like a moon, right? In those two areas, you're going to be able to see, right, the two rivers, these huge rivers here, the Tigris along here, and then the Euphrates right next to it, Mesopotamia is right in the middle, all of this right here. Sumer is going to grow over here. That's where the civilization of Sumer, they're going to grow right here. And it's very important because they're going to be surrounded by two rivers close to the Persian Gulf, which is easy for trade. And there's going to be these two lakes, right? These two lakes here, which are going to be very important because if you have a lake, you have fish, right? If you have a lot of fish, you have a lot of food, right? So you have this resource and resources that are never going to run out, right? Fresh river, said it 3 times. Fresh water, you're going to have the access to fish, access to the ocean, so you could actually trade with other people because you could use boats, you could use ships, and so on and so forth, right? That's going to be Mesopotamia. It's going to be very, very, very important, right? Because it's going to be the first major known civilization. Now, the legacy of Sumer, right? What do they do to keep a legacy? What do they do other than just live, right? Well, they had a basic understanding of astronomy and early mathematics. They created the number system based around the number 6, right? Which we keep today, right? In terms of time, we have a 60-minute hour. We have 60-second minutes, right? In math, everything's based off of 360 degrees, right? And perhaps their greatest achievement was the invention of writing, right? This writing is going to revolutionize how people are going to record everything, right? If it wasn't for them, we would have no way to record anything, any history. We wouldn't be able to record any business transactions. We'll not be able to record, just fill in the blank. Also, the reason why we know they're the first civilization, because remember what we talked about, civilizations have to have writing, right? Civilizations have to have writing, or how else are we going to know about them, right? How else are they going to leave, right? Now, empires of Mesopotamia. The area of Mesopotamia was constantly in conflict, right? Different groups and tribes would wage wars in the area for hundreds of years. Finally, Hammurabi, king of Babylon, conquered all and unified the area. He was the first person that wanted to have all laws and customs written down so that they could be the same everywhere. Hammurabi's code was carved into stone for all to see. So if we look back over here, Babylon is going to be over here. This is where Babylon's going to be. All of these names, right, we're specifically right here, and all of these names are the names of different city-states. We talked about what a city-state is, right? All of these are going to be different groups of different people. And they're constantly going to be fighting over resources. They'll be fighting over resources. Eventually, Babylon more specifically, the king of Babylon, Hammurabi, is going to be the first to conquer each and every one. When he does that, he's going to create the first empire that we know of, the first major empire that we know of. And the way to keep everything the same, the way to have the same laws everywhere and not worry about having to do different things in different places, he's going to get his laws that he likes and he's going to write them on stone. He's going to use the language that they created in Sumer, and he's going to write in these massive, massive, massive stones. And he's going to place those stones in the city square of every town that he conquers. That way, everyone in that town knows, hey, what I do here is the same as what I'll do somewhere else. So if you're in Babylon, you'll know that the same rules apply in Ur, right? The same rules will apply in Kalu, right? And so on and so forth, right? That's huge. Now, class, why? Why do you think that's such a big deal? Right? And this code, these laws that he picked are going to be called the Hammurabi codes. Why do you think it's important to carve it into stone? Right? Well, the reason why he carved it into stone is because it's really, really hard to get rid of it. Straight up. It's really hard to deface stone. Right? When you actually use a chisel and you chisel into stone, it's hard to cover it up. Right? Also, the most important thing is it lasts forever. Right? It lasts forever. And here's an example of his Hammurabi's pillars. Right? These huge things of stone would be placed in the middle of the town square, and inside they would have all of it. I don't know if you guys can see really well on the iPads, right? But it'll carve in every single law and everything written out. Supposedly, this is what Hammurabi looked like. Not true, right? He's not going to be holding a lion in his hands like a puppy. Come on. But it's a cool idea anyways, right? Hopefully I have a statue of that for me. Okay, so let's go on and move on. Now we're going to talk about Judaism. Shout out to my boy Drake. Maybe some of you guys will understand the inside joke here. Anyways, about 2000 BCE, Israelites, also known as Hebrews or Jews, developed a religion called Judaism. These Hebrews were different because they believed in only one God, right? They were monotheistic. They believe every event that takes place is part of God's plan. Get it? No? Okay, sorry. For the people of Israel. The Torah is a Jewish sacred text and contains the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible. Okay, now this is very important because now you have 2 different sets of laws. And this is important because you're going to have the Hammurabi Code, which is going to tell people how to conduct themselves in different areas. Now you have the Torah, which is a holy book that people are going to read religiously. And in that book, it's also going to tell them how to live their life accordingly in a just and like professional type of way. Now, the reason why they do that is because law is central to Judaism. There's rules and procedures for everything in Jewish life, right? The Torah contains many sets of rules from how to prepare food to how to bathe, right? If you ever heard of the phrase, right, kosher, right? Is this food kosher? That means, is it up to the Jewish standards set in the Torah? Okay. And there's different rules and different things about that, but they have rules for just about everything. That's really, really, really important to Judaism. Now, the Torah contains a set of laws called the 10 Commandments. These religious commandments stress moral conduct and religious duty. And we all know what the 10 Commandments are, right? Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, and so on and so forth. Now, Israelite society was patriarchal. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means men held the greatest legal and moral authority, right? Patriarchy is going to be, right, the more popular form of structure in societies throughout history. You will have some matriarchal, which is the opposite, right? Which is where the female or the mother has all of the power and sway and saying, right? So quickly, I want you guys to think about your family. Who runs your family? Is it your mom? Is it your dad? Who listens to who? Is it both? They both have different parts, right, that they take care of, right? It's really interesting when you start thinking about that, right? How do these dynamics in the family affect you, the way you grow up, the way you view different people, right? Well, in Israelites, they viewed, right, the men as being not superior, but they would have the legal authority and the moral authority to run the family. Okay. Now, what I want you guys to do is not copy it on page 11, but I want you to copy it, the 10 Commandments, on your bell work for the day, for Monday. Okay. So Monday, I want you to go ahead and write the 10 Commandments from the book. The notes are going to be on page 13. Actually, no, I'm sorry. They're going to be on page 11. Take notes on Egypt. That's going to be later. And then the questions are going to be the bell work for another day. Okay. If you have any questions, email me, let me know. If not, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.